Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is One of One, buddy. You, right there, you can call me Seven. And last episode, I guess, yeah, it was just more dynamic. It was relationship building. We're doing a lot of fleshing out. And I'm saying that, like, you know, I don't have a problem with it. I like character-focused things. I just want to know where this is going. People have said it's peak. People are telling me that it's intense. There's action scenes, and apparently I'm gonna cry. Apparently I'm gonna need a tissue box, but right now, it's not that I don't see it. We're so early on. I shouldn't be making judgments like this. Let's just get back in there and see what's going on with Aoko, because I think she's here now, so let's do that. Sizuki, you in here? It was 10 to 12 and lunchtime was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped into Class C, as lively as ever, as if it were an everyday occurrence. Aoko Ozaki announced her presence. While Aoko wasn't part of Class C, she didn't let it bother her, as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats. Why are they called baby birds? Are they trying to tell me something? She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male student she had come here to find. Oh, this isn't her class. Okay, that's understandable. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in a corner somewhere, but that appeared to not be the case. Arisato, do you have any idea where Shizuki from seat 12 is? Aoko kept her tone professional. Last with His Highness Tobimaru a while ago. The boy was shocked that she actually knew his name. One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaru Tsukiji by a royal title was because he was the chairman's son, but it was because he actually acted like a royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title. He's with Tobimaru? Are those two friends or something? She seemed surprised. The classroom seemed surprised at her surprise. No idea, but we've never seen Tsukiji be that friendly with another boy before. Well, maybe Kinomi, but he's an idiot, so that hardly counts. Yeah, His Highness was slow to warm to him, but since the third day, it's been nothing but friendly arguments. Well, you can't really help but like Shizuki. He may be a little odd, but he's good people. Amen, hey, I love it, yeah. Sojiro is really nice. Having recomposed themselves, Class C started chatting again. Aoko listened for a bit before turning around and leaving the class with a later, matane, Johnny. What are you looking for him for? All the Sojiro talk finished as quickly as it had started. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room, and Sojiro, having told the story, was smiling in satisfaction. Oh, come on! We don't get to know, man? Tobimaru, still sitting across from him, was frowning. What do you think? Sojiro told his yarn as best he could. Tobimaru fingered his brow as if he was angry or concerned. Sonoji. You trying to make fun of me? A word of advice. Leave that to us smart people, Take that back. I'm more clever than you think. His response only confirmed Tobimaru's suspicions. It had to be one of two possible conclusions. That what Sojiro had just told him was true, or that Sojiro was so tired that he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru sincerely hoped it was the latter. To be honest, Sojiro, you're growing on me. Anybody that never lies can't really be considered human, so for a misanthrope like me, I suppose you could say it's easy to like you. But if you're gonna stick to your dumb story, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for lunch starting tomorrow. Why not just eat in the cafeteria? No, you were hallucinating. If you still insist you saw a ghost, I'd be more than happy to introduce you to a good psychiatrist. So that's your take on it. Good to know. As bitter as Tobimaru's words might have sounded to most, Sojiro swallowed them whole. I already figured as much. It sounds like a tall tale to me too. I was starting to wonder if it was normal for that kind of thing to go on in a city, so I wanted to hear your opinion. Satisfied, Sojiro finished off his last rice ball and neatly folded the cloth. Hey, Chodo a minute. You didn't actually think it was normal for people in the city to breathe fire, extend their arms like they're made of rubber, did you? Well, not normal, as much as within the realm of possibility. This city is full of extraordinary things we don't have up in the mountains. I thought it might have some extraordinary people as well. That his face was as serious as it was made Tobimaru realize just how big a culture shock Sojiro must have been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity in a place where the night sky was as it always had been, where humans were just one more organism in nature's garden. It makes sense that those conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure was an appealing one, but maybe it was natural to forego civilization when your population was so small, or perhaps it was so simple a world that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It was precisely because city life offered him so much that was impossible up till now that he had come to the conclusion that anything was possible here. Relax. The city might have its share of shady guys, but none of them are magicians in disguise. I hope you're right, and he seems unsure. There were things to Sojiro's story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident Sojiro had described was disturbing, to say the least. For the time being, let's assume what you say actually happened. That would ultimately mean that one of our school students killed someone in the park last night, and that neither of the parties involved were normal. Awesome! That's what I like to hear. Sick. As a newcomer to town, Sojiro assumed that everyone his age was a student at this school. For better or worse, he was right. One of them was equipped with a flamethrower, while the other had a naginata, or at least a bladed weapon resembling one that was a good few feet in length. Sojiro bobbed his head up and down as he listened to the disbelief in Tobimaru's voice. Hearing it repeated by someone else, he could see how someone might think he was taking them for a ride. Look, I'm not crazy. It really did happen like I said. Give it to me straight, Sojiro. You're pulling my leg, aren't you? No, I'm not. But I get it. There's no one in the city who can do that, right? If not, I was probably just hallucinating like you said. Working part-time while studying for exams has been pretty trying. Winter break was just around the corner and the end-of-term exams were but a week away. Both were proving formidable opponents for Sojiro. I don't even know the basics, so I need to study twice as hard as everyone else. I mean, anyone would start to lose it if they did nothing but study, right? I wouldn't say you're losing it, but you're definitely pushing yourself too hard. Maybe cut back on work a bit until the exams are over? I've tried to cut back, but a lot of people take off at the end of the year, so they often ask me to fill in for their shifts. He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious from his words that he had been busy. Even if he was not going crazy, lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream, even if this all did go down in the middle of the night. Sounds tough, Sojiro. Yeah, city life has been exhausting. Dude, these guys are just homies, dapping each other up when they see each other and whatnot. Sojiro nodded with a pained look on his face. What was strange, however, was that he did not look the least bit tired. I'm impressed you never complain about it. You always look like nothing bothers you at all. Just because it isn't bad enough to bother me. As he answered, Sojiro looked up at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over. Yeah. It's time to get out of here. Still have stuff to do. Made a gesture that seemed to lament the life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value. I'm jealous that you can just skip class whenever you want. I would have thought you were a stickler for the rules. How many times do I have to tell you? It's not skipping when I've got special permission. The vice president angrily defended himself as he stood up. The transfer student merely gazed at him, unfazed. Oi. You're not honestly implying you still don't understand after all that, are you? Oh well. Just sit down and listen, Sonoji. I was granted talent and luck beyond that of most people, but I always put the work in. But once I leave here, I'm on my own. Now do you get it? I'm sick of explaining this to people. My family status will only keep me afloat for one more year. What about that could you possibly envy? Most people can live off privilege for their entire lives, but the best I get is 3 measly years. Who is your family, man? So I have to take advantage of what I have while I have it. Just the thought of having to count beans like the rest of the idiots out there gets me livid. The adult world is gonna kill me. The envy alone will be enough to destroy my fragile heart. While he must have been joking, Sojiro took his tone to be completely sincere. He listened as he envied Tobimaru's ability to be so open about his feelings. This guy is the GOAT! We have to protect Shizuki at all costs. Bar none, we have to keep this guy afloat, alive, happy, safe, alright? From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take Tobimaru for his word. When? If you're looking to extend your privileges, why not stay in school? I'd be more than happy to arrange that for you. The door to the student council room flew open, washing away Sojiro's half-hearted responses to his friend. This frosty statement destroyed the warm atmosphere of the room. And it also marked the abrupt end to Tobimaru Tsukiji's reign there. No, I just meant that our dreams are something we take hold of ourselves. Really? Then why not spend more time on that than this pathetic display? I could hear you all the way from the hallway, Mr. Vice President. Not missing a beat, Aoko stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled, as if she had been running. Her gaze missed the sitting Sojiro entirely and was focused completely on the ranting Vice President. Ganbare, Tobimaru. Sojiro quietly got up to head back to his classroom. That's cold, man. That's cold. Tobimaru grumbled in front of Aoko. It's almost time for class. You're just proving my point. He cut himself off, and Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Sojiro. It's not like I have time for this either, you know. Feels like I'm always having to clean up after you. Not a complaint. It was her honest opinion. Wait, you're here for Sojiro? Don't worry, I'll deal with you next. Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the mere sullen gaze to which Tobimaru had grown accustomed. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual. Shizuki-kun, Dochiba-suki? What are we doing here? Why does your mood seem worse than you walk in and ask a question like this, huh? What should you prefer, running or swimming? Aoko asked abruptly. Sojiro frowned a little before saying he was fine with either one. Pick one. Pick one, man. Swimming, I guess. Why do you ask? Because you still haven't joined a club. Oh, no room for him to object. All students must participate. Wow, you're forced to? Oh, I'm so sorry. You're forced to participate? Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it myself, to be honest, but a rule is a rule. Yeah, that's wild that you're forced to participate in extracurriculars. That's crazy. How can I possibly find the time for that? How indeed? An equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tobimaru got the impression that she was expressly trying to keep her interaction with Sojiro short. They stared at each other in silence. Tobimaru stood breathlessly silent on the sidelines until Sojiro broke the impasse. I thought you of all people would understand, Aozaki. I mean, of course you do. That's what makes you strong. Sojiro stood up from his seat. He walked past Aoko and into the hallway. Do you mind if I start tomorrow? Whatever works for you, Shizuki. He did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. That's just... We don't get more insight into the interaction? Maybe we do. Hold on. While watching the events play out, Tobimaru found himself deeply impressed with Sojiro. He could tell from Aoko's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of Sojiro. Sojiro, on the other hand, didn't react. Heedless of what Aoko was doing, he simply went on his way. To Tobimaru, it was hard to believe that Sojiro had not taken offense. From his point of view, Sojiro's poker face had been the performance of a lifetime. Damn. Kid has some balls. Oh, President? He looked at Aoko curiously. Aoko stood completely still staring at the wall. Hey, Aozaki? Oi! President! Aoko Joshin? Hey! Yeah, no, she knows. Oh, already. God! Her fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard into the hallway and made Tobimaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison. Jesus Christ, look at her go, guys. She's got great facial expressions and reactions. I think it's really funny. Miss Megaphone. Perhaps her shouting was still ringing in his ears, or he was just the type to answer a shout with a shout, but he shot back reflexively. No wonder you can't get a boyfriend. Do I have your attention now? I could hear you before. I was just ignoring you because you were annoying me and I thought it'd be easier than getting you to shut up. Jeez. Oh wait, what'd she say? I gotta stop doing this. I gotta stop playing with the fast forward function on accident. A mosquito would offer better company, so no. What's that supposed to mean? We never see eye to eye. Talking to you is like going on a date, both pointless activities. Damn! Ouch! Based on that statement, Aoko must have been under the assumption that dating was the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other. Is what the hell qualifies as company to you, but whatever. You're awfully harsh today, Aozaki. This isn't exactly the time to make nice. Funny you mention that. I haven't seen you try to be civil at all in the last 2 years. I'm always civil, just not when you're in the same room. For what happened? Still upset with me for what happened? One thing that Tobimaru could be talking about, the incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer when you punched her? Yeah, when you punched her in the face? Isn't that ancient history at this point? Don't you think you should stop wasting brain power on this? I mean, you've got so few brain cells to work with as it is. As the conversation wore on, Aoko's murderous aura began to fade and her sharp gaze gave way to a calmer demeanor rarely seen from her. It was quite possible that nobody besides Tobimaru had ever seen this side of her at school before. Thanks for the concern, psych. And for the record, it's not like I want to relive it either. It's just when he was being an idiot earlier, it kind of reminded me of how it went down. Come to think of it, this is the room it happened in. Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Aoko, on the other hand, was scowling. Chodo a minute. You didn't tell him about what happened, did you? Sure did. At least how you mocked my candidacy for president and told me my face had sidekick written all over it. And the part where I took the bait and tried my damnedest to punch you for it. Aoko let out a sigh as if relieved that Tobimaru had not told Sojiro the rest of the story. Even she wasn't sure why that... Oh, so she doesn't want him to see that side of her. Oh. I'll admit that was quite a punch though. It was enough to make me react on reflex. Did I really say that, by the way? You sure did, and not only that. After I was taken to the infirmary, you had the balls to tell me you did me a favor by forcing me to be your number 2. Since that day, Tobimaru had served as a vice president to the person who'd usurped the role from him. It's fine though. President sure doesn't suit me anyway. I feel much more at home as a vice president. Your job would have probably turned me into my dad. Your pride's never allowed you to give anything less than your best. Might be a little bit too comfortable in the student council, though. Makes me wonder how you would have looked as an honor student. Oh, go. Come on. Let's not. Yeah, one wolf in sheep's clothing around here is bad enough. Shoot out, go away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of the crude verbal abuse they exchanged on a daily basis with a wittiness that only two longtime foes could manage. Oh, I love this. I like this dynamic a lot. It's cute. Why'd you tell him? Tell who what? What happened between you and me? Oh, that I was just trying to put a stop to the nonsense he was spewing at. He stopped himself before he said any more. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Sojiro had a thing for Aoko. Everyone knew guys didn't sell each other out like that. Even if it was all, in truth, a misunderstanding. Yeah, what the hell was that before, man? That's some grudge you've got against him. Yeah, you just don't want to spend time with him. For something that happened over a week ago, you know? He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess, but he'd come to know her too well for the past few years to dig himself into a hole like that. Why'd you pick a fight? I mean, he does throw you off when you talk to him, but there's not an evil bone in his body. There isn't. Oh! Why are you looking at me like you just stepped in a turd? Oh! What's wrong? What's wrong? Hearing you say that, I was just thinking that I'd never met such a despicable person in my life. Oh, whatever. So he's a good guy? That makes him the perfect person to pick a fight with. If nobody else will do it, the job falls to me, right? She said casually, having regained her composure. Just can't help yourself, huh? Tobimaru could not follow her reasoning at all. Tobimaru was used to Aoko's erratic trains of thought, but hating Sojiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted, Sojiro's taking a shine to you, Aozaki. How can you hate him knowing that? His vow of silence had lasted not even 2 minutes. What I meant was, he tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now was that she would take it well. Because I like what I like and dislike what I don't like. Just because he wants to be friends doesn't mean I have to suddenly like him. Damn. Okay, sure, she answered the question like a normal person would. It's like, well, how can you hate him even if he likes you? Stone cold Aoko. Tobimaru found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being. Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship. I didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me when I say that Sonoji really has a thing for you. He shouted, his face the embodiment of sincerity. Aoko gave him a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost their wallet hours earlier and was only just realizing it now. The first instant of doubt that ushers in the reality of the situation. But an instant is all it was. So what? She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it should matter to her at all. So what? Were you born in hell? I'll assume you didn't hear me, and I'll say it again. Sojiro... Tobimaru gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard. Don't bother. I couldn't care less. She ruthlessly cut him off. Damn, thinking of the boys who still harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tobimaru tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him. Now I see, so that's why he told him about our little incident. Oh, who could have thought His Highness could be so considerate to his friends? Guys, this might be the thumbnail, holy shit. Look at her! Look at her smug little face, holy shit! Oh my god. I bet you also told them all the nasty rumors floating about me too, huh? She laughed as a fiendish smile adorned her face. Tobimaru repented to God, whoever and wherever he or she might be, forever bringing up Aoko's love life. You did the right thing, Tobimaru. Now be a good little vice president and tell me every single thing you told him. She was smiling, but Tobimaru wished she'd at least try to hide the bloodlust. Just 2 things, really. The story you're most infamous for and what happened in this room. Aoko nodded with satisfaction as she listened to Tobimaru's hesitant answer. Rumors like those can come in handy sometimes. You can use them to chase off annoying people. Just be careful about who you tell. Okay? Oh no. Had this been in writing, the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with a heart. Kya! Whether angry or happy, Aozaki spoke in a disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tobimaru took note of this new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of the situation. Don't worry, I value my life, so I'll shut my mouth. But Aozaki, do you really hate Sojiro that much? He knew that it was a topic he would be better off avoiding, but he tried asking anyway. The bonds between men at times shine more beautifully than a pearl. That's so silly. Well, I might not like him, but that doesn't mean I hate him. I'm not even sure why I feel the way I do. Which is probably the problem. Perhaps to placate Tobimaru, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that not even he could complain. Guess that makes sense. As much as emotional arguments can make sense, there's nothing I can do if neither of you understand why you feel the way you do. Thinking that would be the end of it, Tobimaru looked up toward the ceiling and silently apologized to Sojiro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest. Wait. Hey. What do you mean by that? Her faux cheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimaru answered nonchalantly. Oh, nothing. It's just that Sojiro also said he wasn't exactly sure why he liked you. Or more like, there was no particular reason for how he felt, I think. Tobimaru was still in disbelief that Sojiro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out. He said he likes me? For no reason? Yeah, I mean, I even told him about all the rumors around you, and it had no effect on him whatsoever. What did he say again? Oh, right. He was going on about how genuine your concern for him was and how it really helped him. It's almost too mushy for me to repeat out loud. All I can say is that unlike the other boys, the rumors didn't faze him in the least. Tobimaru finally noticed the shift in Aoko's demeanor. She was scowling at the wall. Another face we have not seen from our girly pop here. Holy shit. She glared at it in silence like it was her worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes. What the hell is that? Why can't I shake the feeling that I've heard all this before somewhere? Oh my goodness! Look at her, she is shaken. So great was her ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation seethed until it reached the point that Aoko forgot Tobimaru was even in the room. Tobimaru looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he'd brought further calamity down upon Sojiro's head. I kinda get it now. I think I know why I don't like him. Oh no. Aoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously. Not our boy. The way he acts and talks reminds me of someone I despise. Like how everyone thinks he's an angel and how nothing seems to bother him. Maybe it's how good he is at getting on my nerves. Glancing idly up at the clock, Tobimaru thought that last part just sounded like misplaced anger. It probably is. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone. Fine, get it. Sorry I said anything. Do you need me for anything? Class has already started, you know. What do you mean by class? When did it? The bell rang after Sonoji left around the time you were busy being pissed off at the wall. Tell me, Miss President, are you allowed to miss 5th period? He keeps throwing her off. He keeps throwing her off. He keeps throwing her off. Oh boy. She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Tobimaru raised his hands in mock surrender. A gesture reserved only for the true victor. Consider this revenge for saying I was worse than a mosquito. Hopefully you've learned your lesson, oh hellish demon who feasts upon the hearts of men. You're so petty, you know that? You're supposed to repay insults with insults, you coward! And then she's gonna kill him. Smiled a thuggish grin as if her reaction made his victory that much sweeter. You're heading to Remedial Classics, and I don't have to tell you who teaches Class A during 5th period. Old Bat Fujishiro is going to have your head. Fujishiro had one of the longest tenures at the school, so it was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics. This is where you stop yanking on my tie, and I'll last to your classroom. I won't even try to stop you. Am I not merciful? Nice, look at that face. Holy shit. Can't believe you of all people pulled one over on me. Just die already. Choked him harder. As Aoko put words into action and mercilessly strangled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes. Wait, stop, I'm gonna die. It isn't too late. Do you want them to mark you absent? All right, you gotta go. It was only 1:07. Her route was from the student council room on the 2nd floor to the Class A classroom on the 3rd floor. If she ran, she could make it. I'll let you live, Tobimaru, this time. She clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru was that it didn't sound like an empty threat. Probably not. Be here after school. I actually do have something I need you to do. All right. See you later. Off to school. And now Tobimaru is just, gets to miss this period. Never a dull moment with Aozaki around. That's for sure. He leaned back in the creaky folding chair and let out a sigh. The weather outside was beautiful, but the sunlight waned early in the winter. Before long, daylight would fade, and the unheated student council room would grow colder and colder. All of the good equipment, like the heater, had ended up in the main office, so he had no choice but to settle in for a chilly afternoon. If only this weather would last. Shame the forecast predicted more clouds. After a somewhat suggestive monologue, Tobimaru's mind drifted. He idly wondered to himself whether Sojiro was an overcast day or a clear day sort of guy, but no answers came. And now we're off to a different area, different part of the day. Sojiro heading straight to his job, and while the school had approved his jobs at the Chinese restaurant and fish market, and wow, he's got 2, there was other work he hadn't mentioned to them, and it was not because he knew that they would complain at him working too many, but rather because of the illicit nature of one job in particular. Today, his workplace was a pachinko parlor in front of Yashirogi Station. Holy shit, pachinko is crazy. Crazy industry. All of it, man. It's kind of wild. Sojiro changed out of his school uniform and into a black bow tuxedo uniform, then began cleaning the storefront. Oh my god, you guys gotta watch some videos on pachinko. It's insane. Japan has such an interesting relationship with gambling. Yashirogi was the jewel of Misaki City, a busy place with a vast assortment of commercial centers and shopping arcades. Where there were people en masse, there were products made en masse. A romantic might describe it as a place of joy, a realist would note the free enterprise, and a cynic would point at all the garbage. Local authorities had attempted to beautify Yashirogi, but there was one basic tenet of society they could not overcome. This establishment was the embodiment of that rule. Businesses such as this attracted the dregs of society, and as such, the front of the parlor had to be cleaned several times a day. Sojiro stood outside in the winter cold, sweeping used-up cigarette butts, picking up discarded flyers, and tossing empty cans into the trash. Something about it must have reminded him of mountain life because he cheerfully finished the job with ease. After making sure the storefront was acceptably clean, he returned to the inside of the parlor where it was nice and warm. Blinding lights, deafening sounds, and the impressive odor of tobacco assaulted him as he passed through the parlor on his way to the office. Boss, finished cleaning outside. Good job. Check on the customer on machine 40 on the second floor for me. I have a hunch she might be cheating. This is illegal. This is illegal. Yeah, it's definitely illegal. He's a high school student. He's a minor. His boss was a good-natured man who used to work at a desk job. The reason he employed someone like Sojiro, even though he was clearly a student, was not because he admired him for working his way through school. It was because all of the other employees were scary and intimidating, and he wanted at least one employee who was not. I still haven't cleaned the toilets. It's fine, it's fine. She's in the security camera's blind spot, so we have no way of confirming whether she's up to no good. I want you to go because you've got a sixth sense about these things. Go check on her, will you? All right. Homie, oh my god. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. We're going back. Okay, good. It was a typically large-scale pachinko parlor with 2 floors. It prided itself on being a local establishment that was satisfied with taking the locals' money little by little without resorting to more exploitative means. But regardless of the parlor's intentions, its customers were not so scrupulous. Among them were casual players, professional gamblers, and cheaters looking to profit by exploiting whatever loopholes they could find. Of particular prevalence was a device developed in the mid-80s that could disrupt the machine's circuitry from the outside and make it much easier to get what was called a 777 jackpot. As much as the parlor wanted to deny these cheaters entry, it needed to present hard evidence of cheating or risk losing customers. Particularly in the service industry, innocent until proven guilty was not a rule taken lightly. As a result, they could only punish the customers they caught in the act. Such cheaters were known as gotoshi, a slice of society which Sojiro knew nothing about. What he did know was that they were inconveniencing his employer and violating their rules. He went upstairs. The radio and game machine sounds on the second floor were quieter than than the cacophony downstairs. There were 100 game machines on the ground floor and over 80 on the second. And while there were some empty seats here and there, it was a solid evening turnout. The machine mentioned by his boss was in the center aisle. Sojiro nonchalantly leaned back against the wall and watched the customer hit the jackpot over and over again. Yo, who the hell? It's a lady with a sprite with art. And also, oh my goodness. The second he saw her, his gut told him that she was not cheating. He still was not sure what made someone a master swindler, but if it meant that they were special, this woman certainly fit that description. It was almost as if he could feel the luck emanating from her. As the customers looked on, she silently turned the handle again and again. She appeared older than Sojiro. She wore a green, form-fitting one-piece dress. Guys, short hair? Short hair supremacy? A pair of stockings covered her legs. Her slender legs were gracefully crossed and her elegance suited a painting better than a casino. Her dark, reddish hair was cut short in a bob, perfectly framing her stylish spectacles and crimson lips. Truth be told, something was off about this picturesque beauty ringing the jackpot over and over again. 4 boxes worth of pachinko balls sat at her feet, and her winning streak showed no sign of abating. She looked bored as her slender porcelain fingers lifted a long cigarette to her lips. Guys, it's over! It's over for us! Pack it up! We're going home. We're done here. Oh my god. Just as that thought crossed his mind, her gaze turned toward the wall, and Sojiro. Steins Gate! I'm sorry, I keep comparing it to Steins Gate because it's the only other long visual novel and like critically acclaimed visual novel that I played. But this is bad. Yeah, a chill ran down his spine. He reflexively covered his mouth to keep from shrieking. It's her, the woman from yesterday. The one who killed someone? Acting on pure instinct, Sojiro took off running. He headed straight downstairs, desperate to not be on the same floor as her. He would have run straight out the door, but for his obligations to his job. Boss, I'm leaving early, and the person upstairs is fine. He tried to keep his composure as he spoke, jamming his school uniform into a paper bag as he ran out of the parlor. Cloudy weather brought the shadow of night over Yashirogi as he ran through the shopping arcade toward the station. He shot up the long staircase like an arrow, quickly pulled his train pass from his wallet, and passed through the ticket gate. The ticket gate was crowded with people standing around, walking and talking. The station attendant by the automatic ticket machine had an unpleasant look on his face. There was now a familiar, comforting hustle and bustle around him. Just another day in the city. Nothing like what he had witnessed the night before. He could finally breathe again. The momentary rush of relief brought him to an abrupt stop. He nervously turned around. There was no way that dangerous individual could be behind him. Wait, why would I even... He couldn't think of a good reason for why he'd fled so desperately. As far as he could remember, he hadn't even seen the threat's face long enough to form an opinion about her. Sojiro gave himself a good slap on the cheek to pull himself together and quickly made his way down to the platform. Unfortunately, the next train was 10 minutes away, and panicking would do him no favors, so he quietly found an empty seat and sat down. He took another deep breath. He was surrounded by people waiting for the train just like he was, and no sign of anyone pursuing him. His head finally cleared up, and he assured himself that he was overthinking things. Though, he was surprised at how heavy his shoulders felt. I'm just tired. I'm sure of it. I know my own body best, after all. Sojiro sighed at his greater than expected fatigue. He had certainly struggled since coming down from the mountains, but in retrospect, it could have been worse. Physically, he was probably holding up fine. He was much less confident in his mental state. Dude, that's more than fair. Yeah, you're so right. Like this is hard. This is hard for you. For someone who lived in the mountains, no electricity, no concept of a bunch of these things, and now you just got to make your own way, take care of yourself, work these jobs, and be expected to socialize with these people who all know things that you don't. It's really wild. But also this whole thing, this supernatural thing about this lady killing somebody, this this lady just. What is up with that? Luck emanating from her, not cheating, killed someone in the park the night before, saw a ghost or something. One of them had a flamethrower, the other one had a naginata. She kind of, I mean, if one of them had that kind of weapon, it reminds me of Maki from JJK. But anyway, I think this is a good place to end it. This is wild. I'm pretty excited to see where it goes from here because I think things are about to pick up. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did, and I will see you guys in the next video. So for now, have a good rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye.